And so when we do communion, we don't think that there's any change. When we pray over the bread and the juice, we don't believe that there's any change, that the bread is still bread and the juice is still juice. But what does change is that everyone around the table becomes part of a banquet that Jesus said was going to happen when he comes again. That Jesus said when that time comes that he's going to have us all gathered around the table. And he's going to be the one to serve us. And he's been preparing this banquet since before the foundation of the world. It is going to be truly amazing. So the reason why week after week when we come together and we partake of the Lord's Supper is it reminds us of that. So as you're gathered around the table, what I want you to remember is that every time that we share bread, this is the Lord's bread that we're sharing. That's why we call it the Lord's Supper. On the night that he was betrayed, he had the bread and the juice, and he said, whenever you gather together to have this meal, I want you to remember that I'm the host. He said, and that bread is a reminder to you of the fact that the Lord, his own body was broken on the cross the same way that we break the bread. And so in just a few minutes, when I take the bread, I will break it. And when I break it, you know the way that I do it is that I break it and then I show it to you. And when I show it to you, that's the time that you think about that just as the bread was broken, the Lord's body was also broken. And then we take the cup and I hold the cup up before you. And as I pass the cup in front of you, that's the time that we think about and remember how the Lord shed his own blood so that we could be forgiven, but not just forgiven, but so that we could be made his brothers and sisters, the sons and daughters of God, restored to our place in the heavenly family, so that in that great day when the Lord returns, that our place at the banquet table is assured. So I want you to understand that it's not that we think that other Christians are wrong. It's not just a matter of saying, wow, the Catholics are wrong, Lutherans are wrong. We think that each of those traditions, the Catholics and Lutherans, they remind us of something very important about the Lord's Supper. We can learn a lot from those traditions. So even though we disagree about the meaning of some things, well, we all agree, there's some things we all agree on. Number one is that the Lord is the host. The Lord is the one that calls us around the table. The second is that the purpose of our gathering together is because the Lord commanded it. The third is that the Lord commanded it not just to point back to his sacrifice, but to point forward to the fact that he is preparing a meal for us, and that this is that first taste of that banquet.
And when they had eaten their fill, he told his disciples, "Gather up the leftover fragments, that nothing may be lost." So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten. When the people saw the sign that he had done, they said, "This is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world." If you would like more information on .W Evangelical Church, check out dotheword.org.
Hear the word, do the word. .W